Hello and welcome to another episode of Star Trek Reliant. I am Duncan Idaho, your GM and various characters for tonight, and I'd like to introduce the gang of characters that we've got for tonight as we continue our adventure into the Trident system, starting with Security Officer Chorog.
I just found the armory. It's Candyland. God, I love it here.
We've got xenobiologist or xenoanthropologist Grawl.
Hey, what's in this compartment? Oh, it's a bottle of Quark's Crystal! Quark's Crystal!
We've got our con officer Kara June running.
Everybody, 4 is not a color. About enough people have told me that now. I meant to say 4 is a very important number to the Yizzle. You guys are never going to let me fucking live that down, are you?
Apparently not. You've got our XO and CMO, Eli O'Connor.
Chorog might be playing Candyland, but I gotta tell you about the greatest game of all, Eels and Escalators. Let's play.
You've got our chief engineer, Rick Tier.
Everything in computers is a number. Just remember that, even flaws.
And we've got our counselor, Victor Waitley.
Greetings and salutations. I hope everyone is doing well tonight. Never mind the pending doom.
Excellent.
I don't think there's ever a time in which we don't have impending doom.
Couldn't help myself, sorry. At any rate, though, we'll continue on with the adventure from where we left off last episode. So, overall recap. Captain Marcus Graves and Kara June Rani have been abducted by a strange artificial planetoid system held in a pocket subspace domain. Reliant has also been brought into this realm, where they have encountered a couple of colorful characters so far. Ayrton, a Yizzle salvager, and Pym, a Pym salvager. The group last episode met with our Trident locals and visited a derelict ship to raid the armory for supplies along with Ayrton and Pym. So we'll cut back to the USS Reliant, where the crew has basically been given the directive from Eli O'Connor to basically prep for a away mission. So there's going to be 2 broad things going on here. One is taking care of the spoils from the salvage operation, and 2 is prepping for an expedition to Trident to basically see what the ship can do to find Graves and Kara. So those are the 2 broad, things that people can be helping out with, and I'll just open it up for scenes people want to do before we get kicking to adventure.
Well, I know that Waitley went with one of the salvagers because he was very keen to get access to their computers, their historical database.
That would be Pym.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody's kind of noticed, but Ayrton is practically brainless. He's a good dumb doggy boy.
Chorog is still in that armory we found. He is cataloging all the goodies that he wants to take with him. Let's see, I'm going to take 2 of those, 1 of those. Ooh, this looks interesting.
Bryce is nearby, simply directing security officers to grab the various items and put them in boxes. He looks over at Chorog. You know, we did grab one of everything already for study, right?
I am an ancient arms enthusiast. I have to have all the goodies. Besides, if some of these are broken, I can use them for parts.
Bryce shrugs. I don't think anything here is going to be broken, and, well, he rubs his chin. Okay, I don't know what 10,000 years does to you, but they were pretty well sealed up.
Meanwhile, the pair can hear a rhythmic thumping sound.
Whatever you do, do not open the barn door.
As he hears the sound, Bryce just turns to the door and motions for a pair of security officers to take up flanking positions by it. And he looks over at Chorog. I don't think we should be hearing a thumping on a ship this old and this deserted.
It's coming from down the hall.
You're not wrong. But Bryce, stay here with the army. I'm taking these two with me to investigate.
All right, we'll hold down the fort. He and a few of the officers take up kind of cover positions behind some of the bits of the armory, while two other security officers go over to Chorog.
So, Chorog, go ahead and give me an insight security roll to kick us off for this evening and maybe build up some momentum.
All right.
So close to a crit. Chorog has rolled a 2 and a 16 as a result of one success.
So, you're able to basically spot, the direction of the noise, not only because you can hear it, but you can also see one of the doors looking a bit worse for wear that was sealing the longer end of the hallway.
I don't like the look of that. You two stay here. I'm going to go scan that door.
Yes, sir. We'll cover you from this position.
Engineering insight?
Chorog has rolled an 8 and a 20, which is a success and a complication of some sort.
So the door has been beaten down, and it's been beaten down from the side leading towards the away team. So something has recently tried to emerge in the direction of your group.
Yeah, this ain't good.
The thumping sound continues.
The security officers, from their position behind Chorog, train their weapons on the door.
You can continue walking down the hallway.
All right.
Chorog told him to stay put.
All right. One of you hold this position, one of you cover my 6.
Yes, sir. One of the security officers, an Andorian, peels off from where he is and moves over much closer to Chorog, sweeping the area.
Set to heavy stun. I don't know what we're going to come against.
Yes, sir.
The thumping sound grows louder and louder as you proceed down the hallway. It reaches a point where it sounds like the source of the noise is quite near as you round a corner, or as you near a corner, around which is likely the source of the noise.
All right, I've been through a lot. I know better than to blindly round a corner. You hold position here. I'm going to see if I can poke my head around the corner and see what's coming.
Yes, sir. The security officer takes a position and kind of crouches down to lower his silhouette as much as possible.
Chorog activates the FLIR in his mask. So it's a dark hallway, so he wants to be able to see what's down there without whatever down there seeing him.
I mean, hopefully, anyway.
Hopefully.
Chorog,
Right, so you're peeking.
Chorog very, very slowly begins to peek around the corner.
What you see is John wielding his hammer, singing,
"It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know."
as he just continues to wail on the door with his hammer. With each swing, the gravity function of the hammer just beating the door again and again, and the solid blast metal door just completely bursts aside.
Chorog reholsters his pistol, just face palms, and walks around the corner. John, do you realize you scared the hell out of us?
Hearing the name of John, the other security officer immediately looks around the corner and says, "John?"
Hey, Chorog, I found the perfect spot. Think I'm going to be able to tunnel my way straight to Trident.
You realize we're up in a ship, right? And if you hit that door anymore, you're going to cause a hull breach, and we're going to be on the wrong side of the hull of this thing.
The security officer also holds up a hand and says, please, John, this is also an intact, archaeology site, essentially. Please don't break it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, Grawl will not be very happy if you break his find.
He sheepishly looks at his hammer and says,
Anywhere I can go test this? And any rocks?
You know what? Actually, I do. There is a target range in the armor. You could beat that to your little heart's content, provided you even have a heart.
He scampers off towards the armory again.
The other security trooper just double taps his comm badge to get in touch with Bryce and simply says, "False alarm, sir."
Chorog just shakes his head and looks at the room that's just absolutely demolished and just walks away.
He's clearing a path, but
The human security officer, after rejoins and having been told what happened, just shrugs and says, well, it's been here for 10,000 years. It wouldn't have been easy to fix anyway. I don't think John has added a lot of repair time.
and with that, we can cut over to any other parties that are currently engaged in either taking care of the salvage materials or planning their next away mission.
Down in the shuttle bay, Urton is just kind of looking around at the Federation shuttles, just kind of in awe of them. He's mostly just waiting to see if there was anybody else who wanted to come along with the group. Waitley wanted to follow Pym and is probably with Pym talking about computer junk and the histories and other such things. Urton is just kind of wandering around until someone tells him what to do.
Rick will be taking some of those armory samples and just be doing some, basic power source analysis. What powers these things, what kind of technology he might expect on the various Trident planets.
Well, as for technology across the Trident planets, you don't know. You'll just know what Yizzle technology was like when they were abducted. It does basically seem to be about the level of 22nd century Earth, except rather than going for energy weapons, they seem to have dedicated themselves to mass drivers. In this case, most of the weapons are magnetic induction rifles, which basically just fire solid pellets of metal. They're powered by a battery system as well as a magazine full of metal pellets. They're not that complicated, but they do have a reasonable throw power, although clearly there's no way to set one for stun.
Alright, he'll just sort of note findings down, look at the magnetic fields and just start to see if he'll look at go try and scan the planets and see what power sources are detected planet side.
Give me a control engineering. Rick has rolled a 3 and a 19 for 1 success. You can only scan a section of the planet at the current moment with the Reliance sensors, but you get back all kinds of results. In decreasing order, it looks like there are 1 or 2 fusion stations, several fission plants, multiple solar plants, and a lot of essentially various combustion plants that burn either oil or coal or gas to generate power.
Alright, so he'll just sort of quite a mishmash of technology, which is sort of expected. Don't really have anything that is sort of that sort of broad spectrum in terms of dealing with anything that might be going wrong with those. So
There's a voice from next to his shoulder. Yeah, that's kind of the problem with Trident. You just kind of use whatever you've got. Spare parts aren't easy to come by.
well, we do have replicators, so that could be something that could be very useful for the people down there.
Yeah, well, I realize that you're trying to be nice and all, but do remember that if people find out that you've got something really useful, there's not exactly a small number of people who might just try to, take it.
Yes, fair enough. I guess we need to be careful on who we deal with, but I guess that's more for the captain than me. Just try to find solutions to problems.
So do you know, who we're gonna send down there? We got a landing spot. It's a pretty nice little village.
Well, actually, I don't know. And he'll tap his comm badge. Captain to... Rick T to acting Captain O'Connor.
O'Connor here.
How are we progressing with determining an away team?
I suppose it's going good. I'm going to be going down, I think.
I've done some scans, and we do have quite the mishmash of technologies here. The Yizzle have like magnetic accelerators, but I'm picking up everything from fossil fuels to fusion reactors down on the planet side. So, who really knows what we're going to be encountering down there, technology-wise?
I see. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, I mean, we need to, we need to have basically something that can be quite adaptable. We maybe some charged batteries, or that we can configure to output different levels of power, some kind of plasma generator, some kind of, I mean, it's just sort of you overloading to the point of, well, how far do we go in preparing?
Just get a bunch of batteries. I don't think we should bring a generator. That seems a bit much.
All right. Well, I'll get some configurable auxiliary batteries loaded and
Get like a crate of them.
yeah. All right. I will get onto that, sir.
Urton just kind of nods and just says, "Oh, hey, I think Pim's waving at me. Gotta go. But yeah, everybody likes power. Those will probably be good for trading if you need to. Bye." And he just kind of waves and, half waddles, half runs over to Pim's shuttle.
And meanwhile is basically finishing up the data transfer from his own archives and the archives of what they were able to determine from the Yizzle ship, and transferring them over to Reliant in a handy data storage format. There's a few wires here and there connecting the data pad to a transfer device, but everything's going good so far. So he's just sitting on a chair, whistling to himself while enjoying a drink from the replicator, which happens to be some Shasta.
The computer nearby goes, "Completing file transfer section number 35, adult literature."
Excellent. Yeah, these Federation types probably don't get too much of this stuff. A few species on board, but not really as many as we got in Trident.
At this point, Urton just kind of waddles into the shuttle and just looks around and says, "Oh, hey, it's the creepy guy." He looks over at Whately. "Having fun?"
Whately's just completely engrossed in the computer and reading and researching and looking up everything. He's basically trying to figure out everything he can about the Trident system and how it came to be and what its relationship to the known galaxy and universe is. He's just like, read, absorb. So
Okay,
he's like, he's totally engrossed, and when you ask him, he's like completely unaware.
I was going to say...
So for Whately, go ahead and give me a reason science roll.
Reason science. Let me, I forgot to open the drive.
Drive, yes, the drive where we keep all our secrets.
Let's see here. Drive. Whately. There's Whately. There he is. You said reason science?
Yepers.
That would be a 15. Let's see if I can remember. D20. 15.
I will say that no matter how well you do, we'll have to give a slightly truncated version.
One success.
So, for one success, what you've been able to process so far is that there's just a lot of culture. So, what you're able to get is a lot of miscellaneous, almost touristy level information geared towards describing cultures, species, for people who are traveling through the lands of Trident. Mm-hmm. So you're able to get a little bit of history from that, but a lot of it is not quite judgmental, but at the same time, it's just giving you enough information. It's like how to interact with these people, like what's important to them. And from that, you're able to get a little bit of history, but right now you're not able to see too much of a pattern beyond there just being a lot of information to sort through, a lot of cultures, a lot of names you're not familiar with, and it's a very kind of messy patchwork of species and relationships with only a few themes, generally focusing on this just basically a patchwork of political systems and a lot of not quite chaos, but a lot of stochasticity. So a lot of fluctuation in terms of who's the greatest power, who's the big dogs, and people don't really pay too much attention to that.
If the research tells you anything, it's that there's no central body covering the history of Trident, which means that everything you get is at least slightly conflicting.
Even with religious texts, for example, you're able to get information referring to the caretaker, which is useful in the sense of characterizing them as a sort of benevolent figure, but they've also, in other parts of the histories and variants of the histories and other supporting documents and competing documents, you just get all sorts of different characterizations.
Well, he's definitely going to be very interested in this caretaker individual. He's kind of got a running theory that he hasn't voiced yet, but he's very much wondering if the caretaker isn't a computer system.
Interesting thought. Unfortunately, there's not enough information at this time to be able to determine that.
Okay.
Or even reasonably guess. But it's something useful, something to keep in the back of the mind.
Okay.
Urton just kind of goes over and sits down in the co-pilot's chair and looks at Pym. I think we can probably just leave. I don't think he's looking up for a while.
Yeah, probably right. Let's see. Want to go try to check out the Astrometrics lab, or I got those holodeck things. I think they play games in there, or other things. I didn't ask too many questions.
Oh, I was meaning that we could go down to Sariat Run.
You mean escape, or invite these guys?
Well, I think they're already invited. Didn't they say they had a different way to get down? They didn't seem very keen on riding your shuttle.
Oh, it's a good shuttle. Hasn't failed me yet. Often.
Yeah, that's what I think, but anyway, we could go ahead and go down there, and I guess they could use the shuttle as like a beacon. If they have a problem with it, it's not like they can't contact us.
Probably want to talk to that Eli guy first.
Okay, you want me to page him?
Yeah.
Pym reaches out a paw and just kind of smushes down one of the larger buttons on the control panel and just says, "Hey, this is Urton to that Captain Eli. Pym wants to ask you some questions real quick."
O'Connor here. Do you want to do this in person, or...?
Yeah, this is fine. You're a busy man, got a big ship. Just wanted to check in with you. We could fly my shuttle down, give you like a beacony thing for, your other transit devices. Set up a little base camp outside Sariat Run, so you guys have, a little bit of a secure spot to touch down at.
Look, I'll be honest, I just kind of want to go home.
If you do go down, just make sure it's not observable.
Well,
when we transport down, make sure it's a secluded spot.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know a spot. I mean, smugglers, smuggling isn't something I'm totally unfamiliar with. How to stay out of sight and all that. It's just part of the service package I'd like to deliver. So, yeah, I think we'll get headed down. So, yeah, we'll fly the shuttle out. So definitely have your people, make sure they're ready, so we don't put a hole through anything.
Is Whately still with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks pretty occupied. I don't think it's by gentleman's literature. He's been looking through a lot of historical stuff.
Honestly, I'd be more surprised by the first thing, but yeah. Anyway, make sure he's all right then.
All right. Hey, Whately, you want to go down? See some woods?
Whately starts at hearing his name and says, "What?"
We're gonna set up a little base camp. So your people can. He gestures transport down to the surface without raising attention.
Whately taps his comm badge and says, "Whately to Reliant, are you getting this?"
Yeah.
I'm still on the line over here. I could hear you.
Yeah. We've already got a call.
Oh, then
I'm just getting that weird feedback noise now.
Then carry on. I'm going to continue to research.
All right.
Understood.
All right, skinny dude, let's buckle up and head down to the planet.
Okay.
Waitley
And-
goes back to the console.
After this, it seems like the communications is still on for a second without anybody realizing it. And Erton just says, "We're not going to try landing in that swamp where you lost the crawler, are we?"
No. That's that's a ways off. No. Yeah, still got to figure out what to do about that.
Please keep it on solid ground.
No. It's a little bit of a forest clearing, dry ground. Yeah, nothing too bad out that way.
Oh, this was supposed to be off. Erton clicks off the communication. And with that, the shuttle, without much preamble, and only a few confusing pillars of sparks and occasional strange noises and black smoke, lifts off and exits the shuttle bay of the Reliant, headed down toward the surface of Alpha.
All right, so remaining away team. Your job is basically they'll have a little base camp set up for you guys soon. So you just need to figure out at this point any last minute business you need to take care of on Reliant, and then after that, basically who's going down.
Cut back to the armory real quick, whereas Bryce basically just looks over and Chorog and just says, "We're being called back to the Reliant. It looks like they've got everything ready. Look, we can always come back. Do you have enough for now?"
Trog looks at the couple of dozen boxes that he's tagged for transport. Yeah, I'm good for now.
Okay. In that case, Bryce double taps his comm badge and says, "Bryce to Reliant, we're ready to beam up." And whoosh, the group is beamed up, and Bryce simply looks over at Chorog and says, "You'll probably want to talk to the captain. I think it's best I remain on Reliant for now. I will have security on standby if you guys need reinforcements."
Yeah, I'll have to assess the security concerns. Once we set that base camp, we may need extra security for patrol duties.
Bryce nods and heads off toward the security office, leaving Chorog to his own devices.
Chorog quickly begins to stow his transport cargo in his dedicated spot in the cargo bay before heading to the bridge.
Who all is on the bridge right now?
Eli's in the chair.
Well, the bridge is seeming pretty empty, but Larissa is there on weapons control. Jess, Aro, and Neen have taken over the science station for the moment, and Moon, although slightly still wounded, has returned to his usual place.
Chorog arrives at the bridge and goes over to the captain's chair. "Sir, I'd like to requisition some additional security equipment for when the base camp gets set up so that we have round-the-clock security coverage.
What kind of equipment?
Mainly area scanners, as well as some security lighting and some area scanners. Can't be too careful."
You want to throw in some phaser turrets? Maybe a photonic mortar?
I'll take the phaser turrets. The photonic mortars are too unpredictable. I don't like those things. I've had bad experiences with them.
All right, I'll add four phaser turrets.
Yeah, that should be fine. I'll get that stuff transported down just as soon as I get confirmation that the base camp has been established.
All right, take some camouflage netting too, like sort of cover where we're operating out of.
I will do that, and I'm also going to take one of my personal small cloaking devices to attach to the shuttle to hide it.
I mean, that's why we got the netting, but yeah, fair enough. Wait, you have personal cloaking devices?
You'd be surprised what I brought with me.
Oh, I'm not going to question it. If it helps our mission, sure.
I'm a collector of all kinds of odds and ends. You should see what I brought back from that armory. It's my personal candy land.
Larissa looks over at Captain O'Connor and just says, "Will you be going down, sir?"
That I will. Bryce is going to have the bridge.
Aye, sir. I'll inform him. And at this point, it's probably best for the away team to gather in the transporter room. So far we know it's going to be Chorog and Eli and
Libby's coming.
DB Wells has been summoned.
Yes.
I'm
State
finally
your-
here. Sorry about that.
Setsa, I guess.
Setsa has been summoned.
Setsa arrives wearing a set of Starfleet security armor, although she's also got a active black short skirt on as well. So it's kind of a contrasting combo. She's also got an exorbitant amount of camping gear and a phaser rifle and a phaser, and she's looking like she's hastily assembled the kit.
This being Setsa, she's also wearing a bulky and incredibly cumbersome helmet through which you can really only see her eyes.
Is there a siren on top? Siren on top?
No, she doesn't have the Spock helmet.
Nah.
Rick is just sort of getting things sorted out with the crates of batteries and also transporter enhancers that are going to be sent down once things are ready as the first wave.
Do you think we
Well-
should go get some mobile replicators?
Guaro enters with a bag overstuffed with pads. It got a bunch of pads filled with entertainment and technical manuals for training. He's also wearing a Spock helmet.
Thank you.
If it wasn't Grawl, it was going to be John.
Eli has got, he wears the first contact uniform because those gray shoulders, just amazing. And he's got a Bajoran phaser pistol, along with his phaser rifle slung over his back. And a knife in his knife shoes.
Excellent.
Trog is wearing his usual uniform.
The ensign standing at the transporter console just kind of looks over at Setsa and Chorog. It a little bit at Grawl and just simply says, Captain O'Connor, perhaps you should make first contact. I think some of the others might be a little intimidating. He adjusts his wireframe glasses and simply says, but we're ready whenever you are, sir.
I'll take the lead on any diplomacy, of course, but ready for transport.
Real quick.
Daniel stumbles in, looking exactly how you'd expect him to look for an away mission, with the addition of fiddling with one of those gauntlets from the box that they picked up.
Are Rick Tier, Waitley, or Grimnir joining?
Well, I thought Rick Tier was already here.
Yeah, Rick Tier
Rick Tier's
has
already there.
arrived.
Oh, okay.
Waitley's already down there.
Okay, yeah, Waitley's already down there. Gotcha.
Do you want us to bring John too?
It's your choice.
You know what, John?
Also, any other
John,
specialists?
Isn't John back on the ship pounding away at the armory?
He'll
everybody
come back at this point.
I was about to say, everybody got pulled off the ship by, the order, so.
So, as a captain, Eli, you do have a few choices. There are other specialists on board the ship that you can use. So you've got a base camp that you can set up. So you'll probably have a moving party, but then you also might have people stay behind and basically, make a little outpost.
That'll be the second wave, just a bunch of junior officers.
Okay, but you don't want to assign any specialists for that. So you've got Zacius, you've got
Zacius is going to be down there. Sure.
You've got Sabato, you've got Apathy, you've got Kieran, you got Waitley, or sorry, not Waitley, Grimnir.
Grimnir can stay at the base camp of Grumpy. You cool with that? Because he can teach him how to survive.
Well, I was gonna suggest Mary.
Okay, Mary works too. This is they're staying at base camp. This isn't unless you want Waitley to stay at base camp. Who do you want to play, basically?
Well, that's why I was suggesting Mary for staying at base camp.
All right, so yeah, Zacius, Mary, Sabatu, sure. Checkers. You need somebody to logistics things.
All right, so you've got a healthy complement of basically reserve people back at the base camp.
The transport officer at this point has already sent all the security officers down below. Ready to beam down, sir?
Ready.
Aye, sir. Energizing. As the blue curtain of light falls over our party members, they then reappear in what appears to be a hastily cleared setting a hastily cleared clearing in the woods. It's clear that it has been expanded by several security officers cutting down a few extra trees. In the beginning, it was barely big enough for Pym's somewhat archaic shuttle. But now there's a couple temporary buildings set up, And, the turrets are being worked on. Security officers patrol the area. It basically looks like a small military camp.
Yep, throw up some tents. Maybe make some cover.
Someone has also had the foresight to beam down an Argo.
Oh, nice.
Sir, requesting permission to set up sensor nets to get at least secure the perimeter for the time being.
Of course.
Chorog, give me a control engineering.
Okay.
Chorog has rolled a 7 and a 16, 1 success. You're capable of getting a sensor net that, reads reasonably far out. However, you're having trouble filtering out some of the local wildlife, so occasionally there are false positives. But that's better than false negatives.
Chorog is fiddling with one of the sensor nets. It immediately alerts that to presence. He draws his pistol, turns around to come face to face with a elk-like creature. Ugh, where'd you come from?
The elk simply moos at him in response.
Chorog flashes out, shoot, get out of here.
It moos again, and then, seemingly unconcerned with Chorog, very slowly turns and just walks away.
Devious Habiba. Chorog goes back to his work.
And meanwhile is briefing some of the junior security officers about, just the sights they might see around there, different traveler groups, different types of vehicles they might see, things to be worried about, things not to be worried about. Yeah, it's a pretty peaceful area.
In the background, Urton has fallen asleep on one of Pym's cargo crates.
The crate contains sleeping bags.
He got close.
So, Eli, you've got a foothold established here on Trident, allowing you to basically have supplies, additional reinforcements, additional, facilities to do research and other things as well. But you do need to meet with some of the locals, so what are you going to be planning here?
You do know the location of the closest settlement.
Well, I guess we're going to take a small detachment to the local settlement. And let's try not to show up too heavily armed.
I imagine him staring at Setsa when he says that.
Yes.
Setsa sheepishly sets some of your gear aside, so she takes the helmet off, keeps the body armor, and sets the phaser rifle down. Just adding it to the camp supplies, basically.
Meanwhile, it looks like Rick would like to set up some transporter enhancers, so Rick, if you wouldn't mind, please give me a control engineering. Man, we're getting a lot of use out of that today.
Yeah, I thought since we've got on site without a transporter, it would be good as a quick deployment for on-planetary engagements.
Okay, a 17 and a 15 for 1 success. You are able to set up the pattern enhancers, but you're getting a lot of strange interference. It's odd. Beaming down wasn't so hard, but it seems almost like something is kind of trying to stop you from beaming up. You've dealt around it, but it's still strange.
You have Chorog help him out that he has mechanical tinkering as one of his focuses.
John is currently sitting in the driver's seat of the Argo making vroom vroom noises.
Urton just suddenly wakes up and blinks and goes, huh? He looks around. Oh, hey, it's a party. Everybody's here.
Chorog finishes setting up the final sensor net and sees Rick here having some trouble with the transport enhancers. Here, let me see if I can help you out with that thing.
Meanwhile, Urton just kind of flumps off the box of sleeping bags he was sleeping on and just wanders over to Daniel, who's just staring up at the sky and just says, oh, hey. Yeah, it's kind of pretty. It's really weird how we get light and there's no sun.
Yeah, I don't know why. There's just something off about the sky, I guess.
You get used to it. I only know what other skies look like from pictures. He stops and he looks up at himself. But there is something kind of special about Trident, you know. I don't know. It's a very strange but peaceful place. You know, except for the pirates and the ferals and...
So far, everything seems to be normal, but just work a little bit different. Wait, what was that about ferals?
Oh, yeah. See, I don't know how Trident works in grabbing species and things, but sometimes the species they grab turn out to not be very nice. The ones that just can't seem to function in society we call ferals. Now, a lot of ferals are basically just big animals, but on some cases you'll find some who have a language and a culture. They just don't play nice with others. They kind of take up things like banditry and things in the wilds between towns. Although I guess with the less sapient ferals, it's less banditry and more predation.
Setsa, meanwhile, is poking around some bushes, straying further and further away from camp.
But yeah, you gotta be careful how far you go into strange areas, because you never know when you're gonna run into something that's either gonna try to eat you or rob you and then eat you.
I'll keep that in mind.
Actually,
then-
in the back of your mind, Daniel, you suddenly get a picture of a few different things. A kind of spiky looking sort of humanoid wielding a gun. Another strange sort of blue humanoid who you know could lie motionless in snowdrifts for hours. And lastly, you seem to get this vague sense of some sort of cybernetic being that acts nearly randomly.
Would any of these happen to be blue?
One of them was this second species.
No, sorry, Daniel's saying that out loud.
Oh. Erton stops and thinks, yeah, there's a couple of them. I suppose that the, okay, this part might get cut, but Duncan, help me out. What was a Rig species?
Rig is the Screeve.
Okay, yeah, there's the Screeve. They're kind of a dark blue-gray, but when it comes to blue, I think the most obvious thing that comes to mind are the Lurkers. You don't tend to see them around here. You tend to see them in, like, the really cold places. They're bad news. They can lie on snowbanks or whatever for months, it seems like, and then just jump out and try to eat you. Worse yet is sometimes they have kind of a rudimentary trap where they'll lie down someplace they know that people are going to be walking by, and then when you step on them, there are these spikes on their back that come up and get you.
And there's the erratic robots and the spiky ones with guns.
Okay, the spiky ones kind of sound like the Screeve, who I just mentioned a second ago. I don't know what you mean about, like, robots. Trident doesn't really have, like, robots, really.
Huh. 2 out of 3. And then Daniel just kind of starts getting lost in thought again, looking really confused.
So how'd you know that there was a... Well, I guess blue is just kind of a normal color. Anyway, be careful. Around here, there's mostly just bandits to worry about, but you never know when you'll run into the lost. And he kind of turns and starts to waddle away.
Setsa, meanwhile, makes an eep sound and rolls down a small ditch.
At this point, she is far enough away that she is only on the sensor grid and nobody's really paying attention to her. Most everybody else is currently working on the transporter enhancers.
And with that, let's go ahead and shift perspective before a break. And let's head to the other part of this adventure. So we've got Kara, Marcus, and Bosho, the warrior tardigrade. Kara has just been sprung from captivity by the speaker Arun of Trident. By a sudden intervention by first pirate and then Bosho, who killed the pirate.
Kara just kind of looks around and says, okay, so she kind of holds up an arm and just kind of holds her shoulder, kind of self-conscious. She says, we're leaving, right?
Graves is walking across the large chamber Kara was held at from the entry point that they explosively made on the other side, and calls out, "Yeah, we're leaving. Kara, this is Bosho. Bosho, he's a tardigrade. So you just project John into larger size, and what's the correct term? Ronin or Bosho looks over to Graves and says, I am a smasher of things. go smashy smash, and generally have a good time.
Kara just kind of nods, and as Graves has gotten closer to her, he can see that her normally pink skin has actually turned rather pale.
Graves is also not looking the best for wear, but it just kind of looks like, maybe he's not had the best of sleep time lately. He says, yeah, Kara, you're looking a bit different. Feeling all right?
Yeah, I guess so. I get the feeling, though, that when I woke up, I was in a strange thing, which I guess might have been a biobed. I don't know, I think they might have done something to me.
Yeah, well, looks like they may have given you some new augmentations.
Yeah, that's kind of the obvious part.
Yeah, so we'll find someone to take a look at it. Bosho, I take it you have a way out, preferably spore jumpy? Bosho shakes his head and says, not long enough. It take big effort, especially too close to the life conduits.
While this is going on, Kara goes off to search the dead pirate for weapons or useful objects.
What? Go ahead and give me security insight.
1 and a 10, 3
right?
successes.
3 successes. So you're able to find an assortment of knives, some of which are probably for cooking on the go or eating on the go, but others are definitely made for combat. A little bit of a trick. You find the largest dagger has a little bit of a trick stun function that arcs the blade in sort of blue shocking electricity. You've also found a small collection of grenades, and you're able to recognize them as grenades and don't have any particular accidents, and you're also able to notice the pirate's weapon. It's a pretty heavy-looking plasma, not quite a pistol, not quite a rifle. It's a really, it's a pretty heavy carbine. So you're able to take the grenades and the knives, no problem, but you're probably going to have to do a fitness roll to see if you can take the plasma weapon if you want it for yourself.
Kara doesn't. Instead, she just looks over at Graves and says, "Hey, can you lift this thing? I'm not feeling my best right now. I'll just take a knife."
Graves nods, and he goes to pick over. He goes and picks up the carbine with relatively little effort.
Okay, that suggests I'm not in a good place, because I could barely move that.
Yeah. So, Bosho, you mind giving her a ride?
Well, I can... Before she can finish the sentence, Bosho has walked over and just picked her up.
Oh,
and she,
right.
From over the back of Bosho, from the shoulder, just looks back at Graves with a dirty look and says, "This is the second time today someone's picked me up."
Well, yeah, hopefully it'll be the last taxi ride you take, let's just say. All right, Bosho, we need to get out of here, and I don't think your pirate friends are going to make that easy, so let's start moving along here.
Bosho starts to walk towards the large hole that he'd slashed in the area and just says, "Oh, no, not friends. Not friends, no."
So the group emerges into a corridor that's seen better days from quite a bit of combat that's preceded. So Kara can spy as she's being carried along some more pirates, 2 different species though. You got the big heavy that tried to abduct her, but also several slimmer types of pirates with still a general air of ramshackle armor, a little bit of overeager ornamentation along that armor, but definitely different style and manufacture to that. And then my cat has decided to sing the song of his people. Yeah, I can't integrate that as ambience here. So, moving along the corridor and emerge into another large chamber. This one seems to have, well, it's a large central pedestal, but definitely doesn't have anything that looks like medical equipment.
Kara just kind of looks around and says, "What? Why did we stop? What is there? I can't see."
Bosho turns around, allowing her to see across the room while he himself is looking at a wall.
"See, I really think this would work better if you just let me walk."
Bosho sets her down. Graves says, we kind of just cut across here pretty quickly. So yeah, we've got that nice looking pedestal in the center. Yeah, Bosho, what's going on here? Bosho says, this second place. So first place is big security. Second place, also big security. They keeping something here.
Kara just suddenly blurts out, "It's a computer."
Graves it looks over to the pedestal and it's like, I don't know, kind of like a big computer, small computer.
I don't know. I think it's. She walks over and just kind of looks at it and looks up and down and says, "I think it's locked up."
All right, so I'm gonna take the crack at this.
I mean, she stops and steps back for a second and just. She takes a deep breath and just kind of holds out her hand, and the outside of the pillar starts to just kind of fall away in sections, receding into the ground.
So what emerges from the central of the pillar is it's a small little bluish black device. Kind of has a little bit of a nozzle at one end, kind of a few buttons at the other end.
She looks at it and says, "Maybe I was wrong. That doesn't look like a computer."
Graves picks it up and, interesting.
When he picks it up, an alarm starts to blare.
Graves pockets the device quickly and is like, all right, let's get out of here. And at that moment, the sort of the room, the door they just entered through closes. Graves points to the other side. It's like, all right, hole over there.
Yes, leaving would be good.
So the gang kind of starts moving as fast as they can across the room, while while on the other side of the room there's another cutter, basically a shower of sparks, and a cutting head sort of breaks through the entrance. And at that point, a large gaggle of pirates comes screaming through. Specifically, these ones are, they're a bit different. So it's a throng of various different species, just kind of like, just almost like in a sort of a revelatory party type way, are just kind of coming through and just open fire, just shooting at like whatever looks like it might make for a fun target.
Kara just kind of ducks down and just says, "All right, great, we found the psychos."
Graves looks to his plasma cannon, looks to the incoming group, shrugs, and fires.
Kara, seeing that the time for diplomacy apparently never existed, takes one of the grenades and throws it as well.
All right, so for Graves, he's good at the shooty, so let's go ahead and give him a roll here. 2 successes. We'll show. Successes as well, and then for Kara, give me a fitness security for a grenade throw.
For the audience, Graves rolled a 14 and a 15, 2 successes. Bosho rolled a 14 and a 7, 2 successes. Kara rolled a 6 and a 19, 1 success, and almost a horrible oopsie.
The horrible oopsie fortunately doesn't happen, but the grenade itself, you're able to get it in the right direction. Not necessarily with as much force as you would like, but it still offers plenty of good cover. Graves, meanwhile, takes a shot at one of the overhanging display screens and causes it to drop, blocking off the advance of this great mayhem of a group. And Bosho, meanwhile, basically hurls what he can of the computer pedestal at the group, also causing them to, fortunately, A, duck back for cover, but also B, recognize this group is something to go after. The team must now go ahead and make a fitness security roll to see if we can get to the exit of the room before they open fire on us specifically.
If there's anything Kara is willing to do right now, it's run. She has rolled a 6 and a 1 for 3 successes.
Graves is 11-6 for 2 successes, while Bosho... I almost want to make that retroactively a complication, but he's just got 1 success. So, Kara is basically already planning on that move. So you're able to sprint across. It takes a lot out of you, but you're able to get to a exploded section of wall. Graves isn't far behind, but Bosho, he's hurling insults and taunts at the Glorious Mayhem, the pirate faction that has been attacking you. The Bosho calls out, it's just gonna go Monty Python there. No. You see, this why you never win. Organization, hey, you over there. You best attack from the left. No, not that left. My left. He just throws something else.
Very tiredly, just says, "Get over here."
So they were able to make it to a hole in the wall.
And as soon as they've gotten through the hole in the wall, Kara just kind of waves her arm, and the hole just kind of seals itself. And then she just kind of falls to her knees, gasping, and says, "Okay, I think that's all I had."
Graves looks down. That's an interesting reaction.
Look, I don't care if he carries me anymore. Let's go.
Bosho picks Kara up, and the group then continues on their way through the facility. So with that, let's go ahead and take a 5 to 10 minute break, and we will be right back. City to get to. Let's go ahead and get rolling. You do notice that Setsa is not visible.
Setsa? Okay. Before we leave, we're finding Setsa.
I'll go look for her.
Alright, take someone with you.
Alright, you and Dorian with me.
Yes, sir.
Now, what's your name, by the way?
My name is Civ, sir.
Alright, Civ. We gotta go track down Setsa before something awful happens there. We don't know what's in the area. And from what I heard from our intelligence briefing, there's all kinds of hostiles around here. Arm up, and let's make sure we get her.
Yes, sir. The Andorian goes off to grab a phaser rifle and just some quick body armor and rejoins Chorog.
Chorog has his disruptor pistol and that maglev that he picked up from the armory. Time to give this thing a field test.
The Andorian just kind of has a slight, smile and just says, "Right, sir. So which direction are we headed?"
Chorog pulls out his scanner. Let's see if I can pick her up on my scanner.
Control engineering. Chorog has rolled an 18 and a 13 for one success. You don't get her directly, but you have the trail of where she left camp.
Well, I'm not picking her up, precisely on this, but I can tell she went this way.
She does have a tendency to wander, sir. They set off towards the south side of camp and cross some trees. And, Chorog, real quick, give me just a fitness security. Chorog notices and is easily able to leap over the ditch that Setsa fell in earlier.
Find the ditch.
The Andorian jumps across. Yeah, it looks like somebody fell through here earlier. This is probably the right path, sir.
Yep, that's Setsa's hallmark, all right. Head on a swivel. We don't know if there's any more ditches around here.
The Andorian just kind of smirks and brings up his rifle, just kind of sweeping the area.
Chorog unholsters his pistol. Just keeping an eye on the area. He has picked up a odd sensation that they are being watched and they are being followed. He can hear.
Hold on, I've got this. All right. So, Chorog, Civ, you're walking along and you spot a tricorder lying on the ground. Kind of follows along with a bit of a path in a little bit of reedy vegetation.
That's not good.
There's Setsa's tricorder. She's never without it. This is not a good sign. Something got her.
Civ taps his communicator and just says, "Civ to base camp. We found Setsa's tricorder. We're going to continue following the path, but lock onto our signal, please."
Copy that. Rick Tier, lock on.
And Rick will establish local communicators.
Chorog taps his wrist communicator and says, "We're going to try to keep you guys updated every 5 minutes, so if you don't hear from us within 5 minutes, assume something's gone wrong."
And back at base camp, Civ and Chorog now easily show up even on long-range scanners. At least if they disappear, you'll know exactly where it was.
Chorog's walking around, just eye scanning the area. Keeps on hearing rustling in the grass.
Out pops the elk. Oh.
Oh, you again? Will you get out of here? Shoot, get! Rah!
The elk just kind of moves again and just kind of jumps off.
So, as you proceed along, you start to hear a little bit of a noise. A little bit sounds like sets off in a little bit of a distance. Eventually, you're able to get a little bit closer and hear her say,
All right, just don't hit me again. Okay, just don't. Just sit here and.
Trog hears this, holds up his hand in the so that whatever's out there can't hear him, and gives the motion to surround the area. Trog goes in one direction and gives Civ direction to go around the other one, try to surround whatever's there.
Civ nods and, as silent as he can, goes off.
So it doesn't take a whole lot of it doesn't. It's not difficult to identify where the source of the sound is coming from, since Satsa continues just to protest against whatever has taken her captive. Through the trees, you can start to see a bit of a gray and brown mound kind of come into view. Eventually, you see what looks like a giant garbage pile, or a relatively large garbage pile, into which Setsa has been forcefully inserted. She is currently sitting with her arms crossed in the side of the garbage pile, while a very strange creature just kind of is just sort of walking around, tidying the pile and investigating. It's bipedal, but its legs are certainly pointed in odd directions. It has a single limb hanging from the underside of its body, from which you have a few tendrils hanging out. The bulk of the body is composed of a slab metal carapace with a small head slung low, and a little bit of a tail sticking out. Certainly doesn't seem to be aggressively hostile. Setsa just looks like she has been basically dragged off to this midden and incorporated into a trash pile.
Trog sees the trash creature, I guess you can call it. He's looking around, he's looking to any other hostiles in the area, and slowly begins to approach the creature, see what he can either drive it off or scare it off.
As Chorog approaches, the creature sort of turns, kind of adopts a little bit of a defensive posture, and takes a couple of steps back. It kind of glances nervously over to its trash pile, and Setsa is just looking between Chorog and the creature. Kind of calls out and says,
It just kind of dragged me over here. Trying to resist, but it's really strong.
Don't worry, I'll get you out of there. I gotta try to drive that thing off first.
Well, I think this is its home, so driving it off is going to be difficult.
Well, I have Civ watching my 6. He's on the other side there. I'm going to try to lure it off and see if he can get you out of here.
All right.
Trog starts making a wide arc around the creature, try to get its attention. Fires a couple of disruptor bolts in the air to see what it'll do.
As he does that, the creature arcs its tail. It's hanging low on the back, but the bristles of the tail immediately spike, rotate around, and point at Chorog. The thing is obviously pissed. And what it's pointing at you might not want to find out what this thing does.
Chorog, look at it. It's going into offensive mode. It's like, yeah, that's it. Come on.
I would call it defensive.
Right? It's going into a defensive posture. It's I won't hurt you unless you try to hurt me.
It's continuing to sort of like hunker down a little bit. Definitely adopting this defensive posture. Kind of again glancing over to the trash pile in Setsa and to Chorog.
That's it. Come on, pay attention to me. Ignore the trash pile. Come on, you walking garbage pile. Come on, over here.
While this is going on, Civ slings his rifle and starts to sneak out from the other side behind the creature. He has rolled a 4 and a 17 for 1 success.
Let's do a little bit of a roll for Mr. Trash Creature. 2 successes. It sees him.
And what does it do?
It's basically just diverting its attention between 3 ways now. So, glancing over to Civ, to Chorog, to the trash pile. You could try to extract Setsa from it, but it's likely to provoke the creature. Given its behavior, you might be able to find additional ways of placating it.
Civ just kind of shouts over to Chorog. Should we find some more garbage?
I'm working on it. Just stay there. Trog spots like a big chunk of debris on the ground a couple of yards from him and slowly walks over to the debris, keeping one eye on the creature and one eye on his back to make sure nothing else sneaks up on him.
Nothing else sneaking up on you? You're able to move the debris around?
Strong grabs the debris, kind of waves it like, you want this, don't you? Come on. Come to Uncle Chorog. He's got some nice trash for you.
Creature approaches.
Chorog takes and gently chucks the debris in a good distance away to see if it'll buy the diversion.
The creature kicks Chorog in more of an irritated fashion for lumbering over and going to get the debris and put it back where it was.
Civ unslings his rifle and just says, I think we should shoot it.
Oh, right now it's lumbering off to go get the debris.
Civ, quick! Get Setsa out of there. I'm going to keep an eye on this thing, make sure it don't double back.
Yes, sir.
If it doubles back, I'm taking care of it. I owe it a receipt for what it just did to me. That hurt.
Civ runs over and grabs Setsa out of the trash pile with 2 successes, a 5 and a 9.
As Civ does that, Setsa actually it has the presence of mind to actually unbuckle her armor, and she leaves it on the trash pile.
Civ, as he's kind of running away with her, just kind of glances back and says, you think it was after that?
I mean, it might have seen me as complete garbage. That's not terribly kind to my augments, but, yeah, maybe. At the very least, we gave it a little bit of an offering, so it doesn't completely get it right with us.
Civ is not a complete idiot, and after hearing that it might have been after the armor, quickly unfashions the chest piece he's wearing and throws it behind him.
Oh, they've given the creature a few offerings, and the group is able to return to base camp and report into Eli.
Chorog comes back, kind of nursing his arm a little bit where the creature kicked him. Now we found Setsa. She got kidnapped by a garbage creature. I made it mad and it kicked me.
It kicked you, okay, so that rules out Oscar the Grouch.
Oh no, I wish it was Oscar the Grouch. This thing was just a junk monster.
Understandable.
Can we name it? Setsa raises a hand and says,
Can we name it Oscar?
Sure, yes.
Setsa makes an official note.
Chorog looks down at his shoulder armor. It's like, that thing dented my pauldron. Damn miserable top kick.
Civ just kind of stows his rifle and says, at least it was only collecting junk. It could have been much more aggressive.
That's true. At least we didn't have to kill it unnecessarily. Although I want to go back there and just punch it just to give it a receipt.
Don't abuse the local wildlife.
Rick does
it
note.
Started it.
It's in order.
Rick does note in the file that says that the disposition grouchy.
Civ, after being told that they can't shoot the wildlife, starts to give Eli a dirty look and then remembers he's the captain and just instead goes back to what he was doing.
Oh, I didn't say you couldn't shoot. If they're attacking you, shoot them. But, don't just go out and punch them.
So, Eli, it's been plenty of time. You're able to now give orders about who's going on the Argo.
Alright, well, all aboard. Who's coming aboard? John, you're on the gun. Well, where we would put a gun. I don't think we have the gun.
Give me a minute.
I was about to say, don't worry, John will find one.
John has his hammer. Once he's satisfied with the hammer, it's his offensive implement for right now. So he's sitting on top of the Argo with a big, impressive hammer.
You're in Setsa mode, but that just makes it cuter.
Okay, yeah. So John is on top of the Argo with a hammer.
It's okay, I'm just imagining Mad Max style, them coming across, like, along the side of another vehicle, and then John just gives it a whack and it flies through the air.
Trog is going through one of his crates and pulls out a rather imposing-looking maglev weapon. I found this thing when I was going through the thing. This looks like it would fit on the Argo.
Fuck it, I gotta see this.
While this is going on, Urton has loaded a crate full of stuff to trade and sell into the back of the Argo, and is just kind of sitting on the crate in the back. Safety doesn't seem to be one of those things he's good at.
DB.
Pim.
Sorry.
I was just going to say Pim's sitting in the back with is sitting in the back with her.
DB.
Huh? And Daniel just kind of startles from and looks up. He was just kind of wandering around the site.
You're from the 21st century. Did you have a driver's license?
I mean, yeah.
All right, you're driving.
Okay, sure. I need something to focus on anyway. I'm feel. Daniel just kind of like mumbles as he goes over to the Argo.
Chorog drags a large case over to the Argo, opens the lid. Ah, looky what I found. This will go great on the Argo.
It's a large magnetic accelerator cannon with a, looks like universal sort of pintle mount. It mounts on the Argo fairly easily.
We're only using this if we need to. Hopefully we don't need to.
I've got the auxiliary batteries for support. Should I put those in there as well? We are getting a bit loaded up.
Yeah, the stuff for trade.
Urton looks over at Captain O'Connor and just says, well, you know what they say. Speak softly and carry a big railgun.
I believe Teddy Roosevelt himself said that, yeah.
Ah, see, he gets it. Think of it as a deterrent.
Civ looks over at Grawl and says, they're going to the village. Don't you think you want to go with us?
Yeah, sure. Let me play around with here and load everything up. Guaro also walks over and pushes a button, and suddenly polka music starts playing from the Argo.
Civ just slowly closes his eyes, starts walking in the other direction.
Civ, you don't have to go. Stay here in guard camp with the rest of the security.
Chorog hears the music and just like subconsciously starts tapping his foot.
Eli gets into the passenger side. The front passenger door. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Shotgun.
Shotgun. There we go.
Yeah, Rick joins in the back and he's just sort of like bobbing his head along. Turns to Chorog and says that some kind of interference with the pattern enhancers. Have you ever seen anything like that before?
Oh, while you're all at the village, I'll take a look at it and see if I can straighten it out. I'm pretty good at getting through interference.
Yeah, I think we worked on it well. We got rid of dealt with it. It's just sort of weird that we beamed down without any issues, but there was something here preventing us from dematerializing.
So, hold on a second. So, the sky is bright, like bright blue, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Okay. Do you guys have a nighttime here, or is it always this way?
Oh no, we have a nighttime too. It's, he does some calculation on his hands. It's about 13 hours.
Alright. See how it is when night comes around. I might have a theory on this. What if, because there's no sun here, so what if, like, all this up in the sky, that's like Aurora Borealis, sort of like that sort of thing, lighting up the sky, but just in a massive quantity.
Oh, Aurora. I saw one of those once over at Vorty. They're pretty.
That sort of thing might put interference with transporters, but going down would be an issue too.
That's sort of my main concern. What would be causing an issue returning when it didn't cause an issue coming down?
Pim makes a sort of spooky gestures and says, maybe it's the caretaker. Ooh.
Urton just kind of laughs and says, yeah, so Sariat Run is the closest village. They even have a gateway nearby, I think. They're east of here, and he closes like two of his eyes like he's thinking, and he kind of has his tongue stuck out and says, I think it's maybe 15 minutes if this thing moves at a decent clip.
Well, hold up. Gateway?
Yeah, gateway.
Yeah, like big arch, and then it's portal. Hopefully this is translating all right. It lets you go from point A to point B. It works on a schedule. We set our calendars by it.
Oh God, Arconians here.
I just had that thought too. What if that gateway's causing the interference?
I don't know. Gateways aren't on for a few more days, so I don't think it's going to be an issue for you guys. Haven't heard from an Iconian either, so just kind of keep in mind that, big galaxy, big universe, probably a lot here that you haven't heard about.
When you're in that village, get a scan of that gateway. I want to see it.
You're coming with. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like, it's big. You can't miss it. Like, we drive carriers and trucks through it. Jeez.
Wait, you want me to come with?
Yeah, what? Did you think you were staying here and get to put your feet up?
Might go fight an elk. Better keep him with us.
Exactly.
Well, I might scare them.
Don't think so, buddy. I mean, you're plenty imposing compared to these other guys, but I'd rank you about, 6 out of 10 at best. I mean, on our scale.
All right, I'll come with. I want to see this gateway. If it's Iconian technology, we're in a lot of trouble.
All right, so yeah, Chorog, DB's driving, Gorl in the back. Setsa, you with?
Yeah. I'm coming. I mean,
Setsa, John. Waitley's still reading over there, so.
Everybody's kind of piled in, and Erton just looks around and just kind of taps a foot against the Argo and says, like mush or whatever. How do you make this thing go?
No. Is Chorog driving?
No,
DB's
I
driving.
think he is.
Daniel can be seen in the driver's seat, just kind of just still kind of looking a little lost in thought, absent-mindedly bobbing to the polka.
Chorog taps on Daniel. So, come on, push the button. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. And then Daniel gets the Argo moving, I guess.
If we have to listen to polka, I'm turning it to Weird Al.
On's dancing on the roof. And the Argo makes its way towards Vorty. Cut back, Kara.
Just real quick, it's making its way towards Sariat Run.
Oh, sorry. What did I say? Vorty?
Yep.
Okay, Sariat Run. So you, Kara, just slowly starts to wake up. Apparently you've been sleeping. Bosho surprisingly comfortable. He's a big squishy tardigrade after all.
Kara just kind of rubs her eyes and says, okay, I don't know what they did to me, but I'm never this tired in this week.
Graves says, duly noted. Almost there, I think. He looks around. The still dark, fairly gloomy, but the walls are definitely cave-like, not entirely artificial. Some of the rock patterns are surprisingly geometric, but yeah, it definitely seems like they're out of the facility at this point. Bocho says, "We find something good soon. Very good. Nice resty place. Yeah, took a gate, and I think we're in the right area. Yeah. The rocks, yeah, they smell good over this way."
Kara just kind of looks over at Graves and just says, how long was I out?
2-3 hours maybe. Didn't really have too much more combat. I was just working way around some damage and some blasted debris. Yeah, we found some areas where the pirates had initially made their way towards the facility, and the local guardians of the complex put up a good fight against them.
Jeez.
Yeah, so it seems like there's some big stuff going around here. Pretty heavy firepower involved, so let's definitely keep our heads down for right now.
Kara nods and says, hey, the less fighting we do right now, the happier I'll be. Anyway, Bosho said there's something good up ahead. I hope that that's not just a mushroom field.
I don't think so. He seems pretty familiar with humanoids. Bosho carries Kara, and the cave gets brighter and brighter until they emerge onto what looks like a alpine coniferous forest, pretty thick with recent snow. And up ahead, there seems to be some dilapidated equipment and other mining gear.
And it's cold. Kara starts shivering, and she just kind of squirms her way out of Bosho's arms and goes over to the equipment and starts looking around for any cold weather gear that might have been left behind.
She's able to find some tattered jackets, some heavier protective equipment. That seems to be in part sort of exoskeletal wear to help with moving heavy equipment about, but it does seem to have quite a bit of, cloth to it as well, so it could insulate.
Kara just kind of pulls out stuff that would fit as close as possible. Just says, yeah, I know it won't fit, but if you don't want to freeze, here's what we got.
Is it that cold? All right.
She looks over. It's like, aren't you cold? And I'm gonna go ahead and make a question here. Wasn't there snow?
There was snow.
Kara is now slightly confused. She gestures at the snow and just says, "You're not cold."
Yeah, I mean, it felt somewhat mild to me. So, I mean, priority is you, though. You certainly seem a little bit worse for wear.
Kara just kind of squints at him and just says, "Okay, maybe I'm not the only one they messed with."
Dave shrugs. All right. Yeah. Definitely have Eli take a look at me once we get back, but right now I'm feeling pretty fine.
Hey, you're better off than me anyway. So she goes ahead and kind of disappears under this cloak that it looks like was made for somebody around about her height, but much wider.
Osho leads the group on, kind of making a trail through the snow and kind of works his way up a bit of a path leading towards what kind of appears to be just a very cozy looking settlement. Large cottage inn dominating the center with some auxiliary buildings dotted around and relatively large warehouse.
Most of the buildings seem to be made out of essentially large stone blocks that were just quarried from the earth. It's not highly technological, but it looks warm and safe.
Osho points and says, yes, this is Vorti. Vorti, really good, real nice. Lots of yummies, and got a spa, and places to sleep, and no one tries to kill you much.
Ordinarily, no one tries to kill you much. Would be a deal breaker for me, but right about now, that's an upgrade. She looks around. Looks like there's plenty of mines around here we could hide in, or caves, or whatever the hell this is.
Graves looks over and like, I vote for spa.
Oh, I wasn't saying like we should just go there now. Look, the point is that I think somebody's going to come looking for us, and having some idea of where to run is a good idea.
Gotcha. All right. Bosho, you lead, or Bosho turns and says, yeah, I lead, but I will probably have to talk to Barkeep for a little bit. I need probably to settle things and say sorries.
Kara just kind of, her head doesn't turn, but her eyes just move over to look at Graves as she kind of just has this sort of dead straight look on her face, and then she just kind of looks back forward again slowly.
Graves, all right, I'll take the lead on a little bit of diplomacy here. They kind of work their way into the town, the settlement. There's a few humanoids in heavy heavy woolen clothing, doing some work outside, and they're able to just basically step into the bar or the inn.
Once inside, it looks like this is some sort of large communal building. Across the left side, it looks like it's some sort of bar, inn, eatery area. Across the right side, it looks like there are various desks set up with various people filling out paperwork. And in the middle is a massive bonfire around which there are circular bench or curved benches.
Among the gathered humanoids, just a variety, quite a variety. Some even human-looking. Others, well, kind of a dog-like, four-eyed, four-eared, four-nostriled. Kind of a huggable species. But over at the bar, there's also kind of a fairly striking, tall male humanoid. Kind of a pair of vulpine ears, kind of sticking out the top, and 5 long tails sticking up from behind him.
Kara just kind of looks over at the back of this and just kind of looks at Graves and says, "Am I seeing things?"
If it's some tails over there, yeah, I mean, we've probably seen stranger things today. All right, I'll go ahead and see who I can talk to.
Kara just kind of thinks for a second and says, "Well, they do say myths have a grain of truth to them." She just kind of goes over and sits next to the bonfire for the moment.
Bosho sheepishly kind of scoots in next to him, next to Kara, and trying not to be seen. Graves heads over to the bar, and next to the
It should be
long-tailed
noted
general.
that Bosho's attempt at stealth is absolutely worthless, and there are many, many eyes upon him.
He's looking quite sheepishly. Graves goes over to the bar next to the long-tailed gentleman and kind of looks over to the barkeep and says, hello there, and to the barkeep.
And the barkeep just kind of turns and says, General Kenobi. No, he doesn't. He turns and just says, "Oh, you're a new one. Have you come in from Shamsun, Haven?"
No. We kind of made our way through through some back channels. He kind of points over to Bosho. Says, this one's been helping us out a bit.
Oh, him.
Yeah, so my friend looks a little bit. My friend is, not feeling too great right now, so we can probably use a room. He kind of digs through his pockets and pulls out his tricorder and says, "Fortunately, right now I don't have much. Haven't had the opportunity to seek out work, but got a few items to barter here."
The barkeep, kind of picks up the tricorder and is looking at it, trying to figure it out. And meanwhile, he just kind of says, "Well, you tell that overgrown insect that he owes me 5 batwa."
Will this cover that plus a room?
He just kind of looks over at you. I don't know. What is it?
It's an all-purpose scanning device.
He passes it back to Marcus and says, "Show me."
He demonstrates a few of the functions. He also makes sure that the universal translator is feeding into the device as well. Trying to pick up as much of the written language as he can from their anything in the area. Menus, posters, stuff like that. And he says, all right, this allows you to scan for basically things that would fall under physics. This would fall under chemistry, biological sciences, medical sciences. Gives you preliminary analyses here, and you shouldn't need to charge it for another 300 years.
After a few of these things go by, the barkeep's eyes just kind of go wide, and he looks up. He puts a pair of fingers in his mouth and he whistles shrilly and he starts waving at the other side of the building. After a moment, one of the fluffy dog-like aliens just kind of waddles over and says, "Yes, what? What is it?" This traveler, sir. He's got a very nice piece of technology. It might be useful for the miners.
Certainly like to help out however I can. I'd be a friendly sort, however I come by.
And, the dog-like alien just kind of takes the tricorder and looks at it and says, "Oh, this is even better than the things I've seen the people from Shamsun carrying. With one of these, yeah, we could probably find new ore veins. Oh, that would help so much." And he just kind of looks over at Graves and just says, "Well, technology doesn't come cheap. What do you want for it?"
Room for a few nights, maybe a little bit longer if we get stuck here. Food and, ice settling whatever debt Osho has, or at least part of it.
Once the debt is mentioned, the barkeeper just kind of grumps and crosses his arms, and the dog-like alien has just said, "Yeah, don't worry. I'm Meekin from the Miners Guild. He looks out at the barkeep. Just put this on the guilds tab, and he looks over at Graves and says, "If I can keep this, just let me know if we can help." He kind of gestures to the village. It was like, we don't have a lot around here, and certainly not much technology, but we'll help you however we can.
Graves nods and says, "And like to, you seem like a great sort, so I'd like to do what I can in return. Got some experience with technology, a little bit of experience with negotiation, business, that type of thing. So if you need anyone to mediate anything with any of your neighbors while we're here, I'd like to lend a hand as best I can." And he kind of adopts he kind of leans over to the bar in a bit of a swagger that Kara hasn't seen of Graves before.
So the barkeep just kind of scoffs and says, "If anybody can get a good deal out of those Shamsun assholes, it'd be you, I suppose. I don't know." Meekin just kind of looks over and says, "No harm in letting him try the next time they come by."
Very good, very good. So, yeah, I'll have Bosho take my friend Kara upstairs and Yeah, I'll just, hang around, talk to folks, and just kind of, make some introductions.
Meekan just does kind of look up at Graves a little bit seriously and just says, I didn't catch your name.
He takes a moment and says, Marcus Graves.
Okay, Marcus, I just, look, if we do trust you to talk to the Shamson people, and he just seems very timid, he says, please don't make them angry. Crossbows are not much use against a machine gun.
Gotcha. I'll definitely keep Bosho out of sight.
Okay, thanks. And, I'll go hide this somewhere. And he just kind of waddles off with the, tricorder, cradling it very carefully.
Graves heads back over to Kara and says, all right, bought us a room, bought us some good food, so have some stuff brought up to you. Bosho will get you tucked in for right now if you're feeling like you need to take a little bit of a rest.
She nods and says, I'm feeling a little better, but I wouldn't mind getting off my feet for a bit. She just kind of watches, Meekan go by and just say, I get the feeling there's more going on here than we realize.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, get some rest. Bosho, things are settled with you, so enjoy a little bit of relaxation time. You've definitely earned it today.
When Bosho looks over at the barkeep doesn't do anything, but he does kind of make a slightly rude gesture.
Bosho nods and still sheepishly says, "Oh, okay. I take care of your friend Kara."
And Kara and Bosho just kind of head off.
Graves, as they head off, Graves passes the device he picked up from the pedestal to Kara for safekeeping.
If I get a chance, I'll look at this thing and try to find out what it is.
Graves nods and says, "Yep, probably good. Probably means something, so we'll see." Yeah. So, meantime, he kind of heads back over to the bar, and yeah. It's getting a little bit late. How are folks feeling going for another 5 minutes, or do you just want to call it now?
Honestly, I need to start getting to bed.
Yeah, so let's go ahead.
Let's go ahead and stop, because I think Chorog would be in the next group, so if Chorog needs to go to bed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and starting off the next episode with riding into town is going to be a pretty good lead-in. So, yeah, thanks for joining us tonight, and we will be back for continuing adventures on Trident next week.
Hey,
I don't have any idea how many parts this is going to be anymore, but I'm glad everybody's having a good time.
I mean, part 10, I'm pretty sure we'll get to a part 10. But
this is the Reliant epic.
I think we are going to move a little bit faster through these next few episodes. We've done a lot of the setup.
That's what we said before this one.
I'm still happy that we got to Vorti, though, with Kara and Graves, that, we were able to get through that bit. So,
anyway, send us mail at reliant@starbaseugc.com.
Yes, thank you, Kara.
Yep, reliant@starbaseugc.com, and yeah, see you next time. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Bye-bye.
Amazing.